Hi, this is Pam. Today we are discussing case study number 2, treating parasites, recovering from PLS, which is primary lateral sclerosis. It is a slower progressing form of ALS. You are going to hear the journey of one of our students in getting ready to treat, in what treatments she tested well for, a lot of the parasites that she passed, and the miraculous symptom improvements that she's enjoying. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the absolutely miraculous journey of one of our students recovering from PLS, which is primary lateral sclerosis. It is similar to ALS, but it progresses more slowly. And by our standard of care, it is considered to be incurable. Common symptoms of PLS would include hoarseness, slow or slurred speech, and drooling. Bladder issues, difficulty with chewing and swallowing, stiffness, weakness, and muscle spasms, spasticity, usually in both legs, and eventually moves into the arms, hands, tongue, and jaw. Slowed movement, tripping, clumsiness, and difficulty with balance, hand clumsiness also. So again, PLS is a brutal disease. It is incurable. It is similar to ALS, but it progresses a little bit more slowly than ALS. Our student, when she found the Live Disease-Free program, she was 57 years young. She was diagnosed with PLS in October 2015. And before she got sick, she was always athletic. She was a very healthy, athletic lady. Her symptoms included cravings, constipation, fatigue, pain, anxiety, poor balance, spasticity, weakness in her legs, bladder issues, mobility was affected, and she could walk without an aid in her home, but for longer distances, she would use a cane. The disease really impacted her speech. Her speech was slow and slurred, and her voice would become weak if she talked for too long of a period of time. She also had really bad coughing spells. Her biggest concerns were her balance, her speech, difficulty walking, pain, and fatigue. And her health history, when you look back at her health history, she had a few courses of antibiotics, not many, but a few, for things like bladder infections and strep throat. And I honestly don't know if she was cultured that she had strep for sure, but what the doctors thought were strep, she was given antibiotics for. She also took Paxil for the anxiety. She tried baclofen, but she found that it didn't help. So she was really only on Paxil. She did also use the birth control pill for years before. And so things that she tried to get well, number one, energy healing. She tried changing her diet. She did nutritional response testing, used certain supplements, regular exercise, chiropractic care, and meditation. Her mindset was really, really awesome. And this is a really important part of recovery. So before she even started this journey, this is how she would think in her mind. I refuse to give into this illness. I believe to the depths of my soul that I will get better one day. I never envisioned myself in a wheelchair or paralyzed. I have the will and determination to achieve my goals. So we need this type of mindset to implement properly. Of course, if we didn't do anything else and we just had a good mindset, we wouldn't recover. But when we have the correct mindset, it really helps us to put 100% effort into our actions. So she started the journey in the Live Disease-Free program, and we believe that the prep phase is crucial for our success to recover from these parasites. So in the prep phase, just some of the things she was doing is, number one, following the Live Disease-Free diet, which is getting your total grams of carbs low enough, between 35 to 40 total grams of carbs. And some people feel even a lot better at 30 total grams of carbs. When we get the carbs into this target zone, we notice that we have a lot of symptom improvements. Usually bladder is the first thing that improves. Then we're sleeping better. Then our mood is better. Then we have more energy. Sometimes we notice in our students that they have less spasms. They have more strength. It can be life-changing by just decreasing the carbs. And so that is the first step. The second step is, and we can do this while we're following the diet or learning the diet, is to address constipation, to make sure we use the right supplements to make sure that we're having daily bowel movements. The parasites cause us to either be constipated or have diarrhea or have a combination of either. So if somebody does have a lot of diarrhea, then they will definitely cook all their vegetables that are part of the Live Disease-Free program. They won't eat raw if it doesn't agree with them. And in this program, they always listen to their body. If there's certain food that doesn't agree with them, they avoid it. We definitely want to open up detox pathways. So that's part of the constipation, but others also making sure we're sleeping at least 8 hours per night, looking at our blood work and supporting physiology that needs support, and making sure that we decrease the wireless radiation, the EMF and RF radiation in our home, and making sure we don't have mold in our home. So these are just a few things that we do to prepare before we start to treat. And this prep phase is critical for a really successful recovery. Number one, as we make the parasites less active and we support our body with detox, we notice that inflammation starts to go down. We notice that we have a lot of symptom improvements. This is a natural way to support immune modulation. Very, very important. If we are really toxic and our immune system is really struggling and we start to treat, we will feel horrible and the treatments just don't work as well. So this is critical for success before we move on. And I just wanted to share some of the successes that she had. So just in the first 2.5 weeks of starting this journey, doing the prep phase, she noticed, this is what she shared. I felt many examples of change. I feel many glimpses of improvement that excites me throughout the day. I am more steady on my feet. My balance is better. It is easier to go up and down the stairs. My legs don't feel as heavy. I don't feel as sore. It's easier to stand from sitting. It's more fluid and less painful. And I don't cough as much. My gait is not as awkward. And there has also been minimal drop foot. So that's another similarity with MS, is that MS patients, that many of them end up with drop foot, and in PLS also. Since my diagnosis in 2015, I discovered that when I feel mentally strong, I am physically strong. I have felt tremendous hope in the past 2 weeks, even more than usual. And I also exercise almost every day. So again, exercise is very important. We do what we can with the level of health that we have. I am excited to wake up every morning to see what I will discover each day. And that is the true part of the Live Disease-Free program. If we're just implementing these steps daily, doing our best, implementing with excellence, we should notice small improvements every day. And so it's like Christmas, waking up the next morning when we notice symptom improvement. So then she started to introduce the oxidizing agent and using it orally and using it in enemas. And this is what she had to share. I have passed worms. Even before today, I have been feeling so much better. I can get up so much more easily, walk up the stairs more fluidly, and my balance feels great. I truly believe that this is the real beginning of recovery. I often find myself actually feeling normal. I have also started the oxidizing agent orally, so taking it orally. And also I've done 3 enemas, and with each enema, she just started slowly with 300 milliliters of water. And it's a special enema using the oxidizing agent. The enemas are more easy now that I know what I'm doing. I've noticed today that my hands have been very relaxed lately. Previously, they had been very tight and would naturally tense up. I just noticed that I haven't felt that in a while. That is so awesome. So again, this is just in the prep phase. This is just following the diet, supporting the body, opening up the detox pathways, and yes, using the oral oxidizing agent, but at a very low dose, not really treatment, but the enemas definitely. And this is what she started to pass with the enemas. So these would be parasites located in the large intestines that would come out with the oxidizing agent in the water for the enemas. Again, most of our parasites will be in the small intestines. We can notice that we are passing some from the large intestines. And remember that we could also be passing smaller parasites that we can't see with the naked eye. but she has had so much symptom improvement just in getting ready to treat. So she went, now that she finished the prep phase, she got samples of commonly prescribed parasite drugs. She got energy tested, and these were the ones that tested well for her initially. So with energy testing, it's not an exact science. It is helpful. And it's usually done by a chiropractor that does applied kinesiology. It can be done by a naturopathic physician, whether it's machines or using some type of muscle testing. And very often, the parasites that are the most active, causing the most grief in us, the treatments for them will show up the strongest. So we might still test well for other treatments, but this was what was in the forefront testing well for her when she started. So she started to use these treatments and continued to feel better and better. But I'm going to share with you more parasite pictures. So I have many parasite pictures from her. I'm just giving you a few here so you can kind of get a sense. And this would be very similar to what the other student passed that had multiple sclerosis. So we noticed that there are a lot of these roundworms. I believe they're roundworms. Some of them could be tapeworms, but it's really hard just to go by pictures. But they're round and they're long. And again, what's really important is when the students are sending these pictures to me, I'm asking them, are you noticing symptom improvements? And yes, she continued to notice more and more symptom improvements as she was passing these. And very often we notice that we pass a lot more parasites when we are treating them really well. You might remember from case study number 1 that I shared with you, where the student, when she was introducing the first parasite drug and the second one, and then she passed like a worm and it looked like a fluke. But then when she was up to 4 of the parasite drugs that tested well for her and she tolerated them, there was this like burst of worms that came out. It was like a little bowl full of worms. And I shared that with you in that. So make sure to go back and look at it if you haven't seen that yet. And this is what we see, is that there's a synergistic effect. So maybe one certain parasite drug definitely will treat certain roundworms or tapeworms, et cetera. But it's the combination of 2 or 3 parasite drugs that really is a synergistic effect that helps to treat them more effectively. Very important. And what she did, she was quite disabled with the PLS, and it's harder for some of us to get down to the ground to do an enema and then to stand up and then to get to the toilet. But she did it. And what we can do is we can put a colander in the toilet. And so she just got a cheap plastic colander, put it in the toilet. And if we do, let's say, an enema, let's say one morning, and then we do another enema with the oxidizing agent the next morning, that's where we notice with the first water that comes out with the second enema, that's where these worms come out. And you can try to catch them. They're dead, but you can try to catch them with a fork, take pictures of them, or you can use a colander that you just set into the toilet and then disinfect it after. Either will work well. And it's very important that we are collecting these pictures because it really helps us to understand what we're dealing with, why we feel so lousy. So again, this is what she saw, just a few pictures. I have a lot more. You'll notice on the very left-hand side, like a lot of them will be like roundworms, but on the very left-hand side, there is this ribbed segment. And I've seen that often in people with chronic disease, and I'm not sure what type of parasite that is, but it's definitely something that I've seen many, many times over again. Hopefully someday we can get that tested. So she continued to treat and she got retested, and she tested well for albendazole, pyrantyl palmitoate, praziquantel, wormwood, and diflucan, and also sporanox, which I didn't include on this slide. So, and I asked her, like, when she was treating, and of course she didn't take all of these treatments at the same time. So she was working with a healthcare professional, making sure to take the right amount and a right combination to make sure we can handle it. And that is not too strong of a die-off or a Herxheimer reaction. But I asked her, I said, was there any particular treatments that you found more helpful than the others? And she said, no, they were all really helpful. And that makes sense because the sicker we are, the more out of balance we are. So if we have ALS, PLS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, MS, then we are severely out of balance. We have severe dysbiosis. We may have several different types of worms, big ones, very small ones. We'll have different species of pathogenic or disease-causing bacteria. not just like the vector-borne Lyme infections, but also other ones like Clostridia, chlamydia, pneumonia, et cetera, and different types of protists, different types of fungi. A lot of our students test well for pharmaceuticals that will treat yeast and mold. So we just have to think more about that there is this really significant dysbiosis going on in really sick people, that they will likely require more than one type of treatment. And again, some of these treatments might, both 2 or 3 might treat roundworms, but they also treat other parasites. So there's kind of an overlap with what they treat. And there's a synergistic effect with combining them, as long as a patient or a student can handle them. And this is what we do with our students, is we help them to navigate through this. And that's why she's had so much success, because it's really hard, but you have to work with somebody. I really hope that what I have shared has inspired you and gives you more clarity on what needs to be done to recover from chronic disease, which is caused by a parasitic infestation. What I'd like to finish this video with is really sharing with you some of her miraculous improvements that she's had. First, she shared, "I am feeling pretty good. I think that I have probably improved about 70%. Again, remember that PLS is considered to be an incurable disease. "My backyard is pretty steep. This is the first time in 4 years that I have been able to walk up this hill alone. Before the program, I would have to hang on tightly to my husband's arm. The feeling of doing something this big is indescribable. It's another step closer to recovery." Then about 3 months later, she shared, "I wanted to share my latest improvement in the Live Disease-Free program." Both clips, so a couple little video clips she shared with us, were recorded yesterday. In the first one, I'm showing how difficult it used to be for me to stand up in this bathroom. The second one shows how I can stand up today. Keep it up, everyone. There is no doubt in my mind that my recovery is just around the corner. I should also mention that I was diagnosed with PLS, which is a slower progressing form of ALS. My symptoms were so similar to multiple sclerosis that I felt that the Live Disease-Free program was worth a shot. I am so thankful I did. And another update, which would be about a year and a half after joining the program, walking upstairs without touching the rails gets me a little closer to my old life. It won't be long before I can walk like a normal person. There was a time in my illness, a PLS, that I basically pulled myself up the stairs with both hands on the rail. The Live Disease-Free program has been a long, slow journey, but it's the best thing I'll ever do in my life. I remember her saying too that a lot of her symptom improvements, it took time. They came slowly. And a lot of times she didn't even realize until she said, "Hey, wasn't that a lot harder to do?" So again, recovering, getting all these improvements, it doesn't take years and years, but just months. And I just actually looked at her social media just before I did this presentation, this video, and she's looking wonderful, looking beautiful. She's a mom, she's a grandmother, and it just fills my heart with so much joy to see her living her life and just being part of her family, because to me, that's a really important thing too. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that it helps you to appreciate and understand that it does take work to treat these parasites effectively, and that there is more recovery possible than you ever thought possible. But you have to treat the parasites well, and you have to use the right treatments, the right combinations, but you also have to prepare well in advance so that the treatments are more effective. So if you're new to all of this, make sure to watch some of my videos on YouTube and on Facebook, Live Disease Free, on our website also, and we're also moving on to Rumble. So learn about these parasites, really start to build up a belief system in you that you really understand that that's what's causing your symptoms. Learn about the Live Disease Free diet. On our website, we have the Live Disease-Free guidelines. There's a little cheat sheet you can put in your kitchen. Start to change your diet. Start to notice symptom improvements. Again, this is not just for MS. It is for anyone that's dealing with awful symptoms. So again, watch those videos, start to change your diet, start to feel better, And if you need help, if you're looking for a proven plan to treat parasites, it's a skill that you develop and you'll have it for the rest of your life, then make sure to watch my masterclass training. There will be a link with this video. Watch that and you'll understand more the steps we take to recover. You'll hear a whole bunch of success stories, case studies of other people that have recovered from these parasites. And then reach out to us. You can become a wellness champion. I will support you. We've got different ways we can support you, depending if you're really sick or not that sick, but we are here for you. And I'm doing these videos because I want you to understand that there is hope for you, but you have to take a different path. You have to treat the cause. And that's how you can live disease-free. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it. If you found value in it, please help us get the word out. And then if you need support, please reach out to us. Watch my masterclass training and you'll see how you can reach out, how you can become a wellness champion and get your health and life back. Take care and bye-bye for now.